guys, out here Wednesday tedding some hay. Trying to laugh at my old tedder here, but there's really a rake that's got a it's a PTO driven rake that's got a forward and reverse gearbox on it. Doesn't like the corners very much, but that's the way it goes. Alice Chalmers rake is what it is. Don't have any idea what model it is. Right here in the comments, shouldn't be raking with a narrow front tractor, but as wet as this stuff is, I'm not too worried about leaves falling off. It ain't losing any leaves. And to tell you the truth, I think it does better with running over the windrow. It kind of smashes it down and sticks it to the ground for a little bit, and then the tedder can, or the rake can pull it apart a little better. Got to run the rake or the beater there, or basket I guess would be the correct term, faster than your ground speed, so that it can get it tore apart and tossed over before it catches another chunk of it. But I don't want to completely scatter it over the whole ground. I just want to, like it's doing here, just move it over onto the dry ground next to the windrow. I would look at upgrading it to a better tedder, but I don't think it'd do me any good, since all I really want to do is just move the windrow over and kind of break it apart a little bit. So you don't really want hay laying on what's under the windrow right now, because that stuff will never dry out until the ground dries out. Hopefully tomorrow afternoon I'll be able to bale it. If the rain holds off that long, rake it into 2 windrows into 1 tomorrow, and this an early 50s rake is what I'm guessing is the vintage. Grandpa bought one just like this, brand new, or it'd be great grandpa actually, back in the early 50s. And then in the early 60s, a tree fell on it. It was sitting outside, and a tree fell on it and smashed it. And a storm, tree blew over. And then they bought this one on a sale shortly after that and had it ever since. That pop you hear every now and then is a slip clutch. It's got some grease on it and it doesn't hold as much as it should. Need to take it apart and clean it out, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. That's kind of my gauge to know how close to the ground I need to run it anyways. It doesn't dry out enough tomorrow and it can bale. The rest of you will get the enjoyment of watching our fine other hay rake that which is a backup when the new idea isn't around. I try not to use it, but the new idea is 20 miles away, so I don't think it'll be or it'll get used, but there's nothing to look at and there's nothing special to use. Alrighty guys, out here on Thursday, Raking with the old YH number 5 rake. We're not bailing because about 6:30 this morning I was sitting at the kitchen table and heard lightning start going on, lightning and thunder, and lo and behold, a little bit later I live that way 3 miles and Dad lives that way 2 miles, and lo and behold I had half a tenth but Dad had half an inch, so somewhere in between there is what the hayfield got on it. A little tiny thunderstorm that wasn't over a couple miles wide just popped up out of nowhere and rained on the hay, and then it was gone, and sure uglied it up from over. It still wasn't too bad yesterday, but now it's pretty ugly. So I finally got dried off enough, almost about 6:45 in the evening here, and finally got dried off enough to where I can go ahead and rake it again. Must not have had too terribly much because the ground's starting to show dry again. The problem around here, it just is too Illinois. It's kind of cloudy here in east central Illinois in the summertime, and we don't get a ton of bright sunny days compared to other places in the U.S. And we get a fair amount of just cloudy days with high humidity and not much wind, and it's kind of hard to dry hay because it'll dry down to where it's not soft and wet, but it just stays damp, and that's what we deal with a lot, and that's what this hay is like. It's just damp, and it just won't dry out from that until you get a sunny day. And you can sit here and rake it and tet it and rake it and tet it all you want, but it just never gets drier than damp. And it's always just too damp to bale, and that's about the stage it's at right now. You can't really even wring water out of it, it's just damp, so whatever. That's why there's not much hay in this area. This old rake, bought it in 2011 when I got back into cattle. We had one, and the reason I bought this rake is because we had one just like it. And we liked the way it worked, and we bought it, but way back, we've had one just like it for forever and ever, just like the Alice rake. It was, it wasn't, looked just like this one, not much paint on it, but it, in a lot better shape than this one. In 2004, Grandpa sold the cattle and got out a few calves that had left and a little bit of hay we did, and he gave the rake we had just like this one to a neighbor and who had a couple horses, and then when he sold the horses in a couple years, he sold or gave away the rake then or something. So all we had was the Alice rake, and it doesn't do very well in the corners, and so we bought this one, and it does all right in the corners. The problem with this rake is it's just completely wore out. Until we got it, I don't think it saw a grease gun its whole life. Bushings are completely wore out and everything, so it was a lot more wore out than the one we had before it, and that's why we have the new Idea rake now. But oh well. My piddly little 3 acres of alfalfa here, it works. Don't use it if we try not to use it, but sometimes you have to. Michigan Farming's got one just like this. His is in a lot better shape, and he actually just painted it, so it looks a lot nicer too.